Hello and right, pretty simple one this. I'm gonna find one player in world football for every age, from 18 right up until 40, who had the worst 2023. And lads, some of these players have had such a horrible, dreadful last 12 months, to such a point where they're not going to be spending this New Year's Eve praying to a witch in a caravan. Honestly, it's been horrible. Right, let's go. 18, Ashley Phillips. Okay, I'm being a bit mean. I know I am. It's just a few days after Christmas, and I am bullying an 18-year-old boy who probably still begs his mum to buy him beer. Lads, Ashley Phillips is supposed to be a centre-back megastar talent. So in Blackburn over superstar, who they were forced to sell to Spurs, he is an absolute man-mountain giant. Who, yeah, was probably bench-pressing the family dog when he was 4. But I'm sorry, the bar is set high for 18-year-olds. Phil Jones quit Blackburn for Man United at a similar age. Yeah, he went straight into the first team. Phillips, in 2023, played half an hour for Blackburn in a humiliating 4-0 loss at Rotherham in mid-January, and was then given 1 minute against QPR the next month, and was only given a few minutes of FA Cup run. And now this season, since moving to London, no first team football. He was chewed to pieces by Peterborough for the Tottenham under 21s, whilst he was playing alongside the likes of Iago Alonso, Niall John, and Dante Casanova. Yeah, they sound like the names of goblins in any Harry Potter film. Yeah, the guy might have secured a mega move to Tottenham in 2023. I mean, he's probably doubled his Instagram followers, and now probably has a smoother chat-up line when he's down at his local youth club. But come on the pitch, it's been non-existent. 19, Mohamed Ali Cho. Remember when Mohamed Ali Cho was the next big star, the France under-21 international forward who last Christmas, I'm guessing Everton fans were smashing their head off the fridge in frustration at letting the supreme talent walk out of their academy after 5 years in 2020. Even the scouts at PSG probably saw his raw talent at Angers. And yeah, I mean, as an ex-PSG academy prospect as a child, it's probably a bit like watching your ex-wife out to dinner with Daniel Craig, but it's actually been a pretty dull, stagnating year for Cho. He's played 29 games for Real Sociedad, 0 goals, 1 assist. That's a fairly grim return for a supposed wonder kid. 20, Ryan Cherky. Remember when Ryan Cherky was seen as the absolute next megastar winger who Lyon had in their squad? This incredibly talented playmaker has played nearly 120 times for one of France's biggest clubs, all by the age of 20. So that alone is brilliant. But lads, this is when it was close to a £40 million switch to Chelsea in the summer. I know that club have their problems, but still, that would have been a bit better for Cherky than just slumming it in an embarrassing relegation scrap at Lyon. To show just how dramatically his form has nosedived since that Chelsea interest, 0 goals and 2 assists this season. Lyon are actually now wanting to sell. We're actually at the stage now where Cherky is actually desperate to stay at Lyon, probably because he knows that with his absolutely dog muck form, he'd now only be able to get a move away to someone like Fenerbahce or Anderlecht. Honestly, 2023 could have been a year where he became Chelsea's main man, given an 8-year contract worth £200,000 a week. Instead, he is stuck in a demoralized dressing room where he has to make small talk with wet yogurt pots like Ainsley Maitland-Niles. 21, Fabio Cavaleiro. Look, I considered chucking in PSG striker Hugo Ekitike, who has pretty much gone AWOL from the first team, but to be fair, I think that fella has got some personal problems. So instead, let's pick Fabio Cavaleiro. Lads, in 2022, this ex-Fulham wonderkid playmaker was playing week in, week out for Liverpool. He played 90 minutes on the left wing in a 7-1 thrashing of Rangers in the Champions League. He was scoring in back-to-back Premier League games. Imagine going back to New Year's Eve last year and telling him what would happen in 2023. He'd probably prefer it if you told him that his dog would eat his mum for lunch. He wasn't even injured, and yet was given a combined 8 minutes on the Premier League pitch. Jurgen Klopp let him rot on the bench for the entire game 15 times after New Year's. What did he do? Accidentally take a poo on Klopp's granny's grave? He goes to RB Leipzig on loan, and again, he's played a little more, but not much. Just 158 minutes in the Bundesliga so far. That's the equivalent of a game and a half. He did have a goal disallowed against Man City in the Champions League, but overall, at the rate he's going, this Portugal under-21 megastar is just going to be sold to someone like Sunderland in the summer. 22, Look Mbeso. Lads, never have we seen a high-profile career disintegrate as quickly as Look Mbeso. Lads, this is a fellow who captained the France under-18 team at centre-back. He was in the PSG academy for 7 years. He was breaking under their bench the season they got to the Champions League final. He was supposed to be what William Saliba is now. Instead, he's just a bloated turkey who's now got about as much hype as a potato filled with wheat. I mean, he'd since signed for Nottingham Forest and spent the second half of last season on loan at Guingamp, finishing 6th in League 2. But it's this season where he's been an absolute rotten milkshake. He's on loan at Almere City in their Eredivisie, and yeah, be part of 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, and 4-1 defeats before Christmas. Not great, though. 23, Antony. 1 goal, 2 assists. For Manchester United all year from the wing, and he cost £85 million. Antony is hands down, pound for pound, the worst signing in Premier League history. So of course he makes the list. 24, Ben Barrett and Diaz. This was supposed to be the year that made Ben Barrett and Diaz an absolute Blackburn Rovers goal machine who would repeatedly refuse contracts so he could have his pick of clubs when he left Ewood Park on a free. Clearly he was a distracted lemon cake after Christmas, because to be fair, he only scored 5 goals in 2023 for Blackburn, but to be fair, most of them were appearances from the left wing. But this ex-Man United Academy striker moves to Spanish giants Villarreal, and he's been an utter flop at Chile International, who has not scored or assisted in 19 appearances in either La Liga or the Conference League. He's being so pointless in a yellow shirt that he's now only getting 5-minute cameos on the pitch. Lads, Arnaud Danjuma is a pretty useless chicken nugget at Everton, and even he blew the roof off Villarreal. It's not that hard to be a success there. This fella is very quickly looking like a homeless person who snuck into the Villarreal dressing room and stole a matchday shirt. 25, JeffreineAdelaide. It only feels like 5 minutes ago that JeffreineAdelaide was on a personal quest to make Arsenal look stupid for turfing him away to France in 2018. Ozzy, when he was being a midfield monster at Lyon, I'm guessing the likes of troops were watching Eurosport and angrily shaking like an epileptic frog. Nah, it's okay, crisis averted. Turns out he really is just a useless banana pie. He started this year by being denied a loan move to Sevilla over fitness concerns after he failed in medical. Clearly the hierarchy at the club had become a bit stricter after being forced to pay the wages of a chunky Anthony Martial, someone who probably just spent his Spanish loan just sneaking out of trading early just so we could have first dibs on the muffins in the club canteen. Adelaide goes to Troyes on loan, plays 6 times, didn't win a single match, gets relegated, goes to RWD Molenbeek in Belgium, where he's coached by Claudio Casapa, that ex-Newcastle flop, considering that club are owned by John Textor, an American businessman who controls Lyon, Botafogo, and Crystal Palace. This could have been an audition tape for either a move to London or Brazil, but nah, it's been a disaster. He plays every week, yes, is a key player, but again, just 2 wins under his belt. They're in a relegation scrap. He's had the midfield presence of a lanky sausage roll. 26, Oliver Burke. Lads, it might sound silly to say now, but Oliver Burke was once one of the most sought-after talents in British football. Lads, West Brom paid a club record £15 million for this fella when he was a young teenage winger. Around the same time, they decided that Serge Gnabry wouldn't amount to much, and that he was probably better suited to a career of shepherding donkeys on a mountain in Kazakhstan. And before that, Burke had been a £13 million buy for RB Leipzig. They'd fought off both Bayern Munich and Man United for his signature. Imagine Burke at Bayern. What would they have done with him? Just pay him to sit in the corner and laugh at mother's stupid jokes? He'd have just been another Dale Jennings, a talented Tranmere bowler who went to Munich in 2011 and left Germany forgetting how to use his feet. Anyway, Burke has since turned into a terribly disappointing journeyman. He scored 2 championship goals in 2023 for Millwall last season, and now he's playing every week for a Birmingham team in free fall under Wayne Rooney. Just dreadful. 27, Kaglar Soyuncu. I remember when Kaglar Soyuncu replaced Harry Maguire at Leicester City and was initially so good that this Turkish centre-back was having Man City linked with him in an £18 million move. Yeah, now he's had a revolting 2023. I mean, the fella began the year by failing to make the matchday squad for a pretty dreadful Leicester. Brendan Rodgers is a man who's never really been too fussy about his centre-backs. I mean, Kolo Touré had been finished since 2010, and yet Rodgers loved him so much, he probably often invited him to sleep at the foot of his bed. Soyuncu did get back into the Leicester team under Dean Smith, but was hideously dreadful in his 5 games, 0 clean sheets, and in his final match, they conceded 5 at Fulham. He somehow gets a move to Atletico Madrid. Diego Simeone's weirdest signing since, Matt Doherty just 6 months before, but they've quickly worked out that he is just an unreliable walking hamburger of a defender. He can't get into the team. It's after Christmas and he's still yet to make even a single start. Ouch! I mean, but he doesn't help himself. In his last match, he came on in the 66th minute against Sevilla and was sent off after just 4 minutes. Oh, he's lucky and that he held on to win. Or I think Simeone would have smashed up his car with a baseball bat. 28, Andre Silva. Portuguese forward Andre Silva's career has fallen off a cliff. Again, this is a Portugal international journeyman who, for a couple of years there, was electric. Between 2020 and 2022, this man had clearly been eating his porridge because he had scored 46 goals in 81 games for Eintracht Frankfurt and RB Leipzig. That was class. But the drop-off in form for Silva in 2023 has been horrible. He only scored in 1 of his 20 games for Frankfurt after Christmas. He lost his place in the team, gets turfed out to Real Sociedad on loan, and yeah, it's more the same. Injuries, bench warming, 0 goals in 4 league games. At this rate, he won't be making Portugal's squad for Euro 2024. 29, Yerry Mina. Lads, Yerry Mina is an ex-Barcelona centre-back who's been paid £110,000 a week at Everton. This isn't just some soggy pancake of a defender. He has got a huge profile in world football, and yet, in 2023, He's been ignored, forgotten. Sean Dyche was given the toughest gig and very quickly made up his mind about the Colombian, not letting him squirm off the bench for 12 games in a row. To be fair, he did come into their starting 11 for the relegation crunch survival bid in May, but then he quits them for Fiorentina on a free and has had fitness problems. He's only started one game against Genk in Europe, mostly being a rotten cheese sandwich on the bench. He's not even 30 yet, and still, his career is in a bigger hole than Joe McKelderay's. 30 Connor Cody. I don't think in the history of football a player has dropped further down the England pecking order in such a short space of time. Lads, a year ago, Connor Cody had been in England's World Cup squad, keeping out an actual AC Milan centre back. But now, I think around 30 English defenders would have to get food poisoning from eating chicken quiches they found at the bottom of a bin before Southgate would bite the bullet and give Cody a ring. Lads, it was just over a year ago that Cody was one VAR call away from being an Everton hero for life, scoring a last-minute winner against Liverpool. So who saw this decline coming? Dyche dropped him in March. He came back into the team for the final game of the season against Bournemouth as they stayed up. And yes, he did look relieved, but I mean, deep down, he must have known that this manager was cancelling his homecoming return to Merseyside and that he's going to have to drag his kids out of school. And so yeah, he quits Wolves for Leicester, you know, the team he'd helped relegate by keeping Everton up. And to be fair, he's done quietly well when he's played. But come on, just 7 appearances by January. Just 4 90-minute matches under his belt. Enzo Maresca has clearly decided that he likes Connor Cody about as much as he likes drinking milk out of his grandma's catheter. 31 Neymar. Look, his PSG form in 2022 was excellent. Lads, in the month of August alone of last season, he had chipped in with 7 goals and 6 assists in his first 5 league games. That was Ballon d'Or form. He looked like peak Neymar in 2022. But in 2023, he scored twice. Never played again for PSG after February, suffering an ankle injury. He then quits France to secure the Saudi bag in Al Hilal, where he gets over £3 million a week in wages, which is just stupid beyond belief. Lads, he has played 5 times for this club, scoring once against FC Nasaji Mazandaran, which sounds like a type of Kenyan soup. This is an absolute world megastar who is stuck in a treatment room in a Saudi desert, surrounded by a bunch of terrible teammates who probably can't even do 9 keepy-uppies in a row. Lads, he is thousands of miles away from home, having to console himself with daily Fredo Frog sandwiches, whilst Brazil are dangerously close to not even qualifying for the next World Cup. Horrible. 32 Roberto Firmino. 2023 has been a terrible year for Bobby Firmino, in case anybody cares. Look, I know he had his moments, scoring for Liverpool against Man United, Arsenal, Aston Villa and Southampton in the league. Sure, brilliant. But he chooses the cash in Saudi with Al Ahly, and it hasn't gone well. I even put out a tweet. I would have assumed that playing up front as a false 9, accompanied by absolute sizzlers like Riyad Mahrez and Alisson Maximin to feed on the wings, it would be delicious beyond belief, and with a sprinkling of saucy wonderkid magic like playmaker Gabi Viega behind him. But it has not worked at all. He scored a hat-trick on his debut, but since then, nothing. No goals. In his next 16 league games, has anybody had more of a full stone start than him? Scoring 3 on your debut, and then looking like an unfit sack of ostrich eggs for the next 4 months? This is a Champions League winner who was stranded up front, getting slapped 5-1 by Al Fati. He must have sat at home that night, sitting on the couch wailing like Bridget Jones stuffing her face with cake. He's already linked with an early escape from Saudi, and guess who are trying to send him a cheeky text? Sheffield United. I mean, I guess he already knows Rhian Brewster, but ew. 33 Gini Wijnaldum. Gini Wijnaldum seems to make this list every year. Someone must surely regret quitting Liverpool too. He was a PSG flop who was pretty met on loan at Roma last season, and now he's huffing and puffing for a horrible Al Ettifaq, who haven't won any of the last 8 league games, with Steven Gerrard inching closer to the sack, which must be curtains for his career. 34 Marko Arnautovic. 1 goal in 12 games for Inter Milan in 2023? Not great. 35 Anthony Modeste. Ah yes, Anthony Modeste, that former Blackburn striker who then weirdly turned into a goal machine for FC Cologne. Honestly, he's got the Podolski bug, that he can only ever do it for a club named after a men's perfume. Lads, 2 years ago, he was having a 20-goal Bundesliga season for Cologne at 33. So he earned a monster move to Borussia Dortmund, and he was rubbish. No goals in 2023 for Dortmund in any competition. Moved to Al Ahly. No, not the mega money super club in Saudi filled with mega stars. No, it's the grubby one in Egypt that Salah quit 15 years ago. And yeah, 2 goals in 12 games. Even in the FIFA Club World Cup this month, he comes on in the 87th minute in the first match against Al Ittihad, and he gets sent off after 3 minutes. I was suspended for the rest of the tournament. Oh, how very clever, Tony. 36 Edson Cavani. Edson Cavani should retire. It was only 5 minutes ago. He was actually having a mini Zlatan Ibrahimovic renaissance, surprisingly banging them in on a regular basis at Old Trafford. But now, I mean, he had his Valencia contract torn up in the summer after 0 goals in 16 league games in 2023. Of those 16 games, He lost 10 of them. He goes to Boca Juniors in Argentina and has only scored 3 goals in 16 games. They devastatingly lost the Copa Libertadores final to Fluminense. He is a European League megastar who is being outshone in the biggest game by someone called John Kennedy. Someone who sounds like he works at Supermax on the Ennis Road. You might think I'm being harsh to Cavani considering he is 36, but I don't care. Remember Hulk? He's older than Cavani, and he just had a 30-goal year in Brazil. So yeah, Cavani is now just a bloated pony. 37, Radamel Falcao. Why? Why is Radamel Falcao still doing this? To me, he is like a modern day version of Adriano. Both men who, let's be real, had large portions of their career where they were distinctly average, failing at plenty of clubs. But when they were on it, were hands down the most complete and best centre forward in the world. That was Falcao between 2011 and 2013 at Atletico Madrid. But it's 10 years later, and he's just embarrassing himself at 37. Just 1 goal in 24 league games for Rayo Vallecano in 2023. Watching him play now, he looks a bit like a hairy statue with all the stamina of your grandmother trying to push a wheelbarrow filled with bricks up a hill. 38, Alvaro Negredo. Yes, Alvaro Negredo is still going. The ex-Real Madrid striker who nearly joined Hull 14 years ago. He has been around forever. And yeah, 0 goals in 15 league games in 2023 for Cadiz in La Liga. The poor bloke has barely touched the ball up front all year long. 39, Kamar. Anybody remember Kamar? That Sierra Leone centre forward? Yeah, I mean, he flopped up front at Norwich and Middlesbrough 10 years ago. He's still going at 39 to be fair to him, but give it up, K. 6 goals in 31 games for Chicago Fire in America, which isn't terribly bad for a guy who turns 40 next year, but still, when you're in a putting standard of football and you're being provided service from an ex-European superstar like Xherdan Shaqiri from the wing, then it's not a brilliant return, is it? 40, Vladimir Stovic. Again, I'm being a little mean here because Vladimir Stovic is a 40-year-old Serbian goalkeeper who has 84 caps, began his career in 2001, so I'm not knocking him. He's still doing well to still be playing at 40 for Al Faya FC in the Saudi Pro League. Well, come on, clearly his form is not very good. I mean, alright, forget about the rest of 2023. Just look at the last month. Stovic has lost 5 games in a row, picking the ball out of his own net 17 times in just 5 games. He conceded 4 goals in a match, 3 games on the bounce. That alone should be a big enough hint to tell you, Stovic, that now you have the reflexes of a headless teddy bear. Honestly, give it up. Just retire. Anyway, that's the name. What do you think? Let me know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think? What players have been the worst ones for you? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe. As always, I'll talk to you in a while.